Manpower Minister Tan See Leng assures Parliament that safeguards are in place to prevent abuse and fraudulent applications of the new One Pass. Fire extinguishers will be placed at HDB block lift lobbies in a new trial to help fight fires in HDB flats. A 19-year-old has become the youngest man to be crowned world number 1 in tennis. Hello, you're watching The Big Story with me, Chiao Su Ann. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel to stay up to date with our live news updates. Now we begin with a look at today's Parliament session. Manpower Minister Tan See Leng giving more details of the new Overseas Networks and Expertise Pass, or the One Pass, in a ministerial statement. Announced a week ago, the new scheme is aimed at courting the world's best and brightest to live and work in Singapore. Some parliamentarians ask if there could be potential abuse of the pass and how fraudulent applications would be prevented. In response, Dr. Tan says that safeguards are in place.
We will put safeguards at 2 levels. First level, we will carefully vet all applications. Today, MOM already conducts back-end checks to sieve out potential cases of false salary declarations. This includes scrutinizing applications from companies with a limited track record and asking for more documents to verify that the salary declared will in fact be paid. This will also be applied to all ONE pass applications. For those seeking to convert from an existing employment pass, we will scrutinize their personal income tax filings with IRAS to ensure that they are consistent with their applications. For overseas candidates, we will further assess their company's market capitalization and revenue based on verifiable sources. And the economic agencies will support MOM in this endeavor. Second level, we will engage the pass holders during their time in Singapore so that we will be up to date with their professional activities and annual income. This will factor into our assessment on the eligibility for renewals. Now, Ms. Hazel Pua asked why we do not impose a time limit requiring ONE pass applicants to remain employed. Now, let me be very clear. The ONE pass is not meant to be abused as a visit or travel document. MOM reserves the right to cancel the pass if there are extended periods of economic inactivity with no good reasons. Having said that, we are bringing in these talent and giving them flexibilities because we want to encourage them to take risks, to explore new frontiers, and to make a big impact to benefit Singapore. It is important to allow them some runway, some ramp-up period for that to happen, and not be too quick to jump to the conclusion that they are not contributing.
Addressing the issue of how many individuals are expected to qualify for the pass, Dr. Tan says that it is meant for talent comparable to the top 5% of employment pass holders. This translates to roughly 8,000 people. He adds that there will be no quota on the number of One Pass holders.
We are not setting a quota. And the reason is this: if we accept that there is never enough of top talent to go round the world, then it does not make sense for us to limit the amount of talent we are bringing in. If we impose a quota, we are essentially putting a hard limit on how strongly we can compete at the high end of the global economy. This ultimately hurts Singaporeans, who will then have fewer opportunities. This is the same reason why we do not impose a quota for EPs, but focus instead on setting a high-quality bar. Given that the ONE pass has an even higher quality bar than an EP, it would not be wise for us to apply a quota here.
Now, Dr. Tan says that ultimately, the goal of the One Pass is to benefit Singaporeans in various different ways.
There are naturally questions on how the pass would benefit Singaporeans and what the expected impact on local employment is going to be. Some pass holders may be employees, making it possible to bring a new business unit to Singapore or grow a new line of business. Others may set up companies of their own, generating employment as well as supporting their network of business partners who can also provide good jobs. Yet, others may be here to teach, to advise, or consult for local enterprises, sharing their expertise with Singaporean business owners and professionals. We are building a rich network of markets, people, and ideas that over time will show up in the dynamism of our economy. And if, at the macro level, local job creation remains strong, unemployment low, real income growth sustained, and if, amongst our people, there's always a sense of hope and of opportunities, then I think we would have succeeded.
Following the ministerial statement, and for almost an hour, 13 members taking to the podium to further question the Manpower Minister on the scheme.
With the introduction of the One Pass and several changes to the Employment Pass framework, as announced by Minister, how does the Ministry intend to promote and track the transfer of skills to Singaporeans by Employment Pass holders such as the One Pass? In view of the ministerial statement, has the Minister ruled out fixed-term employment passes or other schemes that incentivize such skills transfer to Singaporeans to address skills-related underemployment, amongst other things?
There are many government programs that support capability development. The government has given significant skills future subsidies, Singapore ESG Enterprise Development Program, as well as sector-specific programs by various sector agencies are continually supporting the development of skill sets for our locals. And one of the programs that he was particularly interested in is the Capability Transfer Program, the CTP, which is one of the programs that he has actually raised and filed PQs before. Under this Capability Transfer Program, funding support is provided to companies to acquire global capabilities that are not available in Singapore. And this can be done in a variety of ways, such as bringing foreign specialists into Singapore to train locals in new capabilities and sending locals to overseas for overseas training attachments. The scheme was created and it was conceived, and since its inception in 2017, it has benefited more than 140 companies and more than 1,000 locals. Our locals have experienced expanded job scopes as they have acquired new skills. The last 2.5 years, we had some setback because of COVID, but with the reopening of borders, we once again would like to welcome companies to tap on this if they need to bring in global experts in cutting-edge areas.
Another key issue that members of Parliament zoomed in on today is how small and medium enterprises could be affected.
I thank the Minister for sharing some of the spin-off benefits that SMEs would actually benefit from this new ONE pass. SMEs collectively actually employ a large majority of Singaporeans and are actually facing intense competition for talent. To support every stage of their business growth, I appreciate that he also shared about support for vertical sectors, but I think SMEs require support at every different stage of business growth and are already facing intense competition from larger enterprises. So I'd like to ask the Minister, is there further direct support, direct benefits for SMEs to give them the support to find the talent that enables them to be the future LLEs and to reduce being further disadvantaged in this intense competition for talent?
Our intent in growing this segment, first and foremost, is targeted to improve, to increase, to broaden the spillover effects to our SMEs. As I've shared, we want to grow our ecosystem as a whole by creating new cheese, significantly new cheese, so that down the stream, up the stream, our local benefits, our local companies will benefit. This measure will strengthen our standing as an international hub for talent. It will bring significantly more businesses for our local companies, especially our SME, and increase the opportunities for all of our Singaporean workers. Having said that, we have multiple grants, we have multiple support solutions to continue to help strengthen and support our SMEs. We encourage our big LLEs to act as queen bee when we go out to hunt together as a pack to bring our SMEs along. We also hope that SMEs will work with the government. And in the multiple approach that we have done, as we go out and expand our reach globally, we would urge the SMEs, especially our SME bosses, to be nimble because of their size. They are able to provide significant, engaging challenges and a very, very responsive type of HR policies for their young talent to join them. And collectively, we can build a much bigger and a much better future for all of our ecosystem here in Singapore.
Dr. Tan also responded to non-constituency MP Leong Man Wai's question on whether it makes sense for foreign talents to come to Singapore to pass on skills to our local workforce.
From where we have started to what we are, we have certainly benefited from the global talent coming here with the transfers of skill sets, capabilities, knowledge, and so on and so forth. To his second point, in terms of succession planning and so on, I think we are now at the stage where we are not only looking at skill sets alone, expertise, more so than the proxy of the $30,000 mark. We are looking at creating a significantly different ecosystem. One that will hopefully ensure our continued prosperity and progress for the next 5 or 10 decades and beyond.
And also in Parliament today, a new trial to help fight fires in HDB flats. Fire extinguishers will be placed at the lift lobby at half of the housing board blocks across Singapore for residents to use in emergencies. This comes in the wake of 2 fires in HDB homes last month, resulting in 1 death.
SCDF is embarking on a trial with HDB, Town Council and Temasek Foundation to place and maintain 1 fire extinguisher at a lift lobby of every 2 HDB blocks for use by residents during fire emergencies. SCDF has been educating residents on the use of the fire extinguisher through public engagement programs such as the Community Emergency Preparedness Program and Community Resilience Days. Through these platforms, SCDF encourages residents to install fire extinguishers in their premises on a voluntary basis and also shares information on the locations where hose reels can be found in common areas.
Both cases of HDB flat fires last month involved hoarding, and parliamentarians queried if more could be done to tackle the issue. Senior Minister of State for National Development, Sept, says hoarding cases are complex and can take a long time to resolve. She promised that the government agencies and town councils will step up enforcement on cluttered corridors in the coming months.
We plan to intensify actions to keep corridors clear for passage. In the coming months, agencies intend to work with town councils to step up enforcement on cluttered corridors. In tandem, the MSO will work with the media as well as social and grassroots workers to further spread and reinforce key messages through more public education on the dangers of hoarding and cluttered corridors. We will also continue to tackle known cases of egregious hoarding within flats. We will work with agencies to assess risks posed by the worst hoarding cases. Where orders are issued for public health and safety reasons and hoarders are cooperative, we will proceed to declutter via the community-based approach with the assistance of volunteer groups. However, even in cases where hoarders are unwilling to part with their items, we will act firmly in the interest of public health and safety to intervene. We seek the understanding of the public that we cannot allow decluttering efforts to be blocked by the remonstrations of individuals who may be endangering public health and safety with their actions. Lastly, the HMCG alone cannot identify all hoarding cases. Residents who come across hoarding behavior with public health and safety concerns may report such cases through the One Service app, which will then be referred to agencies for further assessment.
Before Parliament began today, Leader of the House Indrani Raja called upon members to observe a minute of silence to commemorate the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. She also outlined the role the late monarch played in Singapore's history.
Her late Majesty was not only Queen of the United Kingdom, but also the head of the Commonwealth, a family of 56 nations across the globe, of which Singapore is a proud member. Queen Elizabeth had a unique role in Singapore's history. She was Queen during Singapore's transition from a crown colony to an independent state, including when the fledgling legislature that would eventually become this Parliament was born. She made 3 state visits to Singapore in 1972, 1989, and 2006. During these visits, she enjoyed the unique sights, sounds, and experiences of Singapore. The Queen's association with Singapore continues to be marked in and around our city. Queen Elizabeth II Walk along Marina Bay and Queenstown, Singapore's first satellite town, were named to commemorate her coronation in 1953. Places and roads in Queenstown are named after places in Scotland where she spent time during her childhood, such as Strathmore, Forfar, and Stirling. Princess Elizabeth Primary School in Bukit Batok was also named after her. We have kept these place and school names. They record part of our history and reflect our continued high regard for Her late Majesty and our enduring friendly relations with the United Kingdom. The passing of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II marks the end of an era.
Leaving the Balmoral Castle for the final time, Queen Elizabeth's coffin arrived in Edinburgh on Sunday, and tens of thousands of mourners gathered to say their final farewells, lining the route, many in somber silence, some applauding, and many others in tears. The coffin was carried by kilted soldiers to the Palace of Holyrood House, where it will remain overnight. In Edinburgh, people will be able to pay tribute to the Queen for 2 days. King Charles is also expected to join his siblings in Edinburgh. And 19-year-old Carlos Alcaraz has become the youngest man to be crowned world #1 in tennis after he claimed his maiden Grand Slam title at the US Open on Sunday. He secured the victory over Norway's Kasper Ruud in the final at the Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York City. And those are our top stories for today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Chao Suen, and I'll see you tomorrow on The Big Story.